On YouTube, I'm here with my Week 4 Pokemon Global Battle League match, and it's going to be versus the Orlando Solgaleo, however you want to pronounce it. The Sun Cover Legendary. It's a pun on a soccer team, because that's what they do. But this has definitely been one of my harder ones to plan for. I didn't actually get time to make a locker room video, so this is going to be a combination. This is definitely going to be a little bit more in depth, because usually I shoot the locker video before the game, and then after the game I immediately upload the locker room. And then after that, like maybe a day or so after that, I upload the actual game, since I usually end up doing my games on Thursdays or Fridays, and the video goes up on Saturday. So what will be happening here is I will be explaining my sets as the move happens. If the Mon dies, I will explain what I had it there to accomplish. You know, just in case there's anybody watching or anything. I always run that risk, you know, there's always screen cheating going on in online games, so I'd rather not over divulge until, you know, it's beyond, you know, the scope of reasonable doubt that there would be any, you know, foul play going on. You know, I'd love to give everybody benefit of the doubt, but it's 2017, and some people are scum. So, beyond that, my opponent did say she is logging online, so I'm just kind of waiting for her to see what's happening there. I already have my 6 Mons in my party, ready to go. Intended lead in mind as well. Trying to think about what else. I think I have correct items on everything. I should probably take the opportunity to check that now. That looks about right to me. I think one of them maybe was supposed to be a life orb instead, but I think I'm okay as is for now. I think it might have actually been leftovers. I think I got distracted that evening. Anyways, we'll kind of wait that one out. Let's see if she's online right now. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, she's here. So I'll send the request. I'm not sure if she's busy doing anything. Oh man. The reason I feel like I psyched myself last week was I used a battle track that was out of my control. It was far too upscale, far too serious. I think we're going to take it down a few notches in terms of what we're going to play again. I say this, but well, whatever. Odds are she is... I was like, what does that spell? Somebody in my chat was spelling out bananas phonetically. It's like, okay. But yeah, she's probably talking to her camera right now, which is why we're not getting the single battle requested. Okay, that's fine. I'll let her do it. Let's see. Let's do a thumbs up. Huh. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Lord! I'm nervous for, like, so many different reasons. I don't know what she's gonna bring, but we're gonna find out the hard way. This is what happens when you don't prep, and you decide to go with it, you know. Whatever that means. Whatever happens there, that's what we're doing. Very nervous. Very nervous. This one's what happens when hyper offense also meets hyper offense. So, could be a little tricky. I don't even think I have these friends in the right spot. But I can show you guys right now what I'm doing here. So, you guys probably saw briefly what I was bringing, but I'll just pop it up on the layout right now for a second. Oh, man. I didn't even see... I guess I wouldn't see what she has at that point. Tricky, 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 tricky. It is a Ludicolo versus a banana, according to the Twitch chat. But talking to you guys, like, I have disgustingly underprepared for this. So I need to know what's going on. I need to know what I'm up against. It's gonna make things really rough. Alright, looks like she's done. And the mons I am bringing to this game are going to be Silvally, Gengar, Medicham, Starmie, Zygarde, and Zapdos. My matchups here. We have no Landorus, which is very interesting to note here. Okay. I was kind of expecting it. And we have no Galvantula either. So things are going a little differently than I expected. So we have an Electivire, which is important to note. Bisharp I was expecting. I was expecting Charizard as well. To leave your Mega behind would be a little silly. Shaman, Evire, and Latias are not necessarily things I'm immediately worried about. But we'll kind of figure that out as we go. So got my dudes in mind. And we'll just go for it. So yeah, we have no Lando. We got no Lando. No Galvantula. The one rogue-ass thing I could think of is a Scarf. There's still the potential of Scarf other mons. It's a little weird. I have to be careful with Zapdos, because Zapdos is going to be kind of dead weight here, you know? Alright, guys. We know how it goes. Week 4. And the mon I've actually chosen to lead with is, gonna be Gengar. Now, she has a Bisharp. That is very important to note. It cannot make repeated switches. But I don't want to go for Sludge Wave on the first turn and let it come in for free. Huh. Interesting. And it's interesting to think about my turn here as well, because I think, yeah, Landorus not being here definitely kind of changes things up in terms of what I'll be doing. But it's just kind of, it's gonna be kind of one of those you take it as you go kind of things. So the 50-50 between the Shaman staying in and, you know, me going for Sludge Wave, not being afraid of Bisharp, and me going for Shadow Ball, being afraid of Bisharp, and failing to get the KO on Shaman, those are both very real possibilities. So, you know, having Shadow Ball and Sludge Wave, that would be a really dangerous option here. Plus, if the Bisharp has Pursuit, that is also another consideration. I don't want to get my Gengar trapped immediately on turn 1. So I'm actually thinking that an Earth Power is going to be coming. It'd be weird if an HP Ice happened now. So we actually do see a double into potentially... this is Donphan, alright? I think I'm going to be okay here. That is definitely not the double I was expecting there. I would like to break the Sturdy. That is kind of important to me here. I do have hazard control on this team. I can manage the hazards later, so if she wants to get the rocks up, she can. I think this is really the only Pokemon on my team that necessarily mines rocks, and it's already in. So I would assume that the worst I have to fear is probably Ice Shard, which I don't think is... See, friggin' this thing, that's a 2-hit KO. So I think we're going to be just fine there. Now, to look at my ice resistances for a second here. Let me take a quick look. Or her ice resistances. For all she knows, it could be grass, and she could go into Charizard, so that would be kind of silly. I am anticipating the... I'm kind of anticipating an Evi or a Bisharp switch here. I don't think she would lose her Donphan right now. Or she'd want to lose her Donphan right now. So the consideration here is whether or not I switch, or I stay in and I keep the offensive. It's just kind of it's an interesting turn of events in terms of what's gonna happen right now. She does have the rocks up, but I have done a pretty significant chunk, and I am on the offensive with this Zapdos, which has a pretty good amount of coverage versus I think Latias is probably only going to be... Latias is probably going to be one of the hard stops here to Zapdos. But at the same time, she might also want to get some good damage off with Evire, knowing that I can't really T-Bolt. So we do see a switch. This could be to Bisharp. This is to Evire. So that's fine. I'm actually kind of glad I went for a Heat Wave here, which does a pretty good amount. I was not really prepping for Evire. And I don't really know what kind of Evire this is either. But I know I outspeed every variant of Evire except for Scarf. So she also doesn't know what kind of Zapdos I am. So the thing that I've revealed that I probably over-revealed right now is that I am faster than the Evire. And I do miss a Heat Wave, which is a little bit unfortunate. This is fine, as long as I do not get frozen. That does a she's Life Orb. Okay. I think Heat Wave might put me in range of that KO there. So, as long as I can hit it again, I should be fine. And then if she switches to Charizard, that will ultimately be okay as well. Now, I've done significant chunks to Donphan and Evire, and I'm in before Rocks as well. So, the position I'm in is not really an advantageous one for offense because Latias is still in the back. But it's not really bad being in a defensive position because I don't know how much she values the Electivire, it being Life Orb, you know. That is a definite possibility as well. So if she's just gonna switch around and let me get free damage, then I'm all for it. She probably now recognizes that the Life Orb recoil probably put her in range of a KO there. The potential roll for it, we saw how much it did before. We don't know whether or not that was a low roll or a high roll, and she does not want to risk it, so she ends up switching out to Latias here. Which is... I would guess that that's fine as well. I don't have a lot of solid switch in Latias. So... my question here is... my question here is, how bad do I need Zapdos? Zapdos actually kind of struggles against Evire and Latias. I don't really want anything else to take a Draco. I can manage Charizard fine because it's Char Y, because I have Gengar and Starmie. It would be nice to have a Seed Flare switch in, but rocks are up, and I don't know if I'm going to get that luxury to spin them away and roost again. So, I think I much more value the... yeah, I'll take that. That's fine. So, I'll let her get that Draco off. That's actually 100% okay. Now, the thing I do want to do here is... Let's see. I think I would like to start with... I think I want to do this. I think I would like to get this Mega going. I want to see how much this is going to do. Plus, chip is chip. This thing's going to be getting free damage basically every time it comes in. So I might as well get free damage every time I come in too. Plus, I speed tie with a good amount of things. The one thing I do fear at the moment is probably Bisharp. But she does not want to stand for that, so she's going to opt to go into Donphan here. That's actually pretty okay by me. I don't know whether or not I need to calc how much a fake out into another hit of mine is going to do. It is a little iffy, though. So let me go ahead and check that out real quick. I'm about to click it, but I will take the time to do it right now. Let's see. I really hate to do this, because I definitely should have had this going, but I feel like that should be okay. It could be a roll, is what I'm ultimately most scared of. Because Fake Out did so discouragingly little. So the thing that I want to do here is actually... I think she may go for an Earthquake here. So I'm just going to go ahead and go there. I really don't think she would go for an Ice Shard. Okay, good. So we are in with Starmie with our Air Balloon versus Donphan. I feel like she would want to break it, but we realistically only had Air Balloon to be able to switch in on Galvantula's web and spin it away. But now that that's not really necessary and I've just dodged an Earthquake from it, I feel like I can Scald fairly freely. If Latias gets burned, I mean, it comes in and just whatever, so that's fine. On top of that, I have Analytics, so if she goes into Bisharp, she's going to be taking a very beefy hit. And if Charizard comes in, excuse me, on the Switch as well, that will always be an extremely beefy hit. So she can break my Balloon here, but she will probably die to a Scald. Or she can switch to something else and take a very powerful hit. Those are her options right now, and neither of them are too convincing. Because I don't value my Balloon that much. I just really like coming in at that moment when I did. Because now the threat of an Analytic Starmie is a very, very big threat. Which will ultimately offer a pretty big hit. So I'm willing to bet one of her 50-50s in her mind right now is... do I go into Bisharp to predict the Ice Beam, or do I go into Latias to predict the Scald? She does have good defensive mons for each. She opts to switch. This is going to be a free 30%, and she does get it correct with Latias coming in. So, we are going to see this. I don't know what kind of Latias this is either, but we do get the burn, which is excellent. The one thing I would like to know, and I am still mildly scared of, was whether or not this is Scarf Latias. I have no reason to suspect otherwise for the time being, but I also am still down a Mon, and I do not want to lose that much momentum. So, I mean, there really is only one way to find out. But how much is the Scarf Draco Meteor really gonna be doing? Starmie's got a respectable amount of special defense, and Latias would not have that attack power on that. So, that's also fine too. The one thing I am scared of right now is a Bisharp switch. But I've been frozen a few games in a row, so to get one in return would be pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. But this is tricky on everybody. And at the very least, my opponent is... She's in some very decisive turns. So I don't mind that she's taking the time to think these through, because by Starmie coming in on Donphan, I really am applying a lot more pressure than I need to be. It made it seem like that was MLG, but I did not bring Air Balloon for... I didn't bring Air Balloon for Donphan, it just happened to work out that way, so... we are getting a little bit of chip all the way around. This is really important for Zygarde if I can get it going at least once. So we do see the switch, probably to... Okay, so we see an Electivire Sack, is what I'm assuming. So this is fine too. Evire being gone means that... What does that mean? That means I can spam T-Bolt freely with Starmie. That's really... it means that Zygarde now has a little bit more breathing room in terms of being able to DD on something that doesn't have an ice move, so that's another ice move gone. Zygarde's not going to have a whole lot of opportunities, though. So here's the Bisharp. So, my main problem here is, we have this 50-50. We already know what this is all about. Like, do I stay in and Scald, predicting her Swords Dance? Or do I switch out, fearing the Sucker Punch, or do I stay in, also fearing the Pursuit? There's a lot more reasons I should stay in, versus, you know, switching out. And how bad do I need this? I actually do need this thing fairly badly. For Latias, mainly. I can't afford to let it get set up. So, I'll go for that. I do not get a burn. So she went for not predicting the switch. Being a Life Orb variant is also very scary. So I think now's the time we show off this set, which is actually here for, you know, quite a few reasons. So, this is, and I'm not afraid to say it to my opponent either, this is a fighting type Silvally. And it's tailored for a lot of different things. I mean, to address my Twitch chat that's questioning item clause is not a part of this league. It just so happens that a lot of my mons aren't running the same item, so it's not too big a deal. But I have this Silvally here specifically to take on this, this Bisharp. So, if she wants to go for Sucker Punch, I can live it pretty comfortably. Since I am a fighting type one, I'm running a lot of HP. If you guys notice, I'm at 201 HP at level 50. I think I'm running max HP. So, she does have a few options here for what she can do. I feel like she might go to Donphan, expecting me to be SD with like Ice Fang or something. There's one play I do not want her to do. There's actually two plays that I'm not really fond of her doing. So. And she does switch. And she goes into... She goes in Shaman. Alright. That's fair. So, I'll show multi-attack. And then from here... my question here is... I think I'm gonna try to go for something here. I'll see what I can do. Because she might be thinking a few turns ahead of me here. I was not expecting at all what she was going to bring. So she goes for an Earth Power, oddly enough. I don't know if she was checking my type specific. She has 3 Life Orb Pokemon. So, very interesting to note there. Let's see. Do I? Oh, I messed up on an item, but I think that will ultimately be fine. And I think we're actually... I realize that I do not have what I want on this thing. I forgot to change items beforehand, unfortunately. So the one thing I do have to think about is... This might still be too early for this. I need to think about what you want to do here. But at the same time... Interesting. I think I'm just gonna try. She has Gleam, specifically for this. I am able to... Oh, that was a crit Gleam, too, so that's really unfortunate. I guess I'm just gonna have to go for the kill here. I'd forgotten about Gleam, which is gonna be... It's gonna be ultimately weaker than HP Ice, but... And, let's see. So let's see, that... And then let's do... I don't think this will be nearly enough to knock this out. Let me see. Yeah, it's not even close. So let's try that, I guess. So, we'll knock out this Shaman here. And yes, this does absolutely invite Bisharp in, which is what I was fearing. So that's fine. It'll take a little bit more Life Orb recoil, which is nice. She has a very offensive team, is what I've noticed. So, yeah, this play was very quick for her. So, what I can do from here is... I think this is probably one of the only Mons equipped to live a Sucker Punch. And I think I'm just going to have to get a little aggressive here and try to predict her switch. Because she could go either Charizard or she could go Latias. And I have my friend subscribing with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much, Jacob. I think I'm going to go for... I really don't think she would stay in. No, she wouldn't. So there we go. So we're going to be able to get some damage on Donphan here. We actually get the KO on Donphan. So we have a little bit more breathing room on... we have a little bit more breathing room for Medicham. Medicham was worried about that the whole time, and I think I think that will be okay there. My biggest concern here is Latias. And also, I'm very concerned about Charizard being able to outspeed this. But keeping in mind, we still have a Gengar in the back. We could be okay there with a combination of some chip and stuff. Chat, let's see some doggos, chat. That's what he's here for. He's a good doggo. All right. Well, now that we got the drop on her with Ice Beam, what are we seeing? So this is the Charizard. The monster is here. Honestly, this is just a little bit of an unfortunate tight spot in terms of what we have going on here. Because naturally she'll be running a timid Zard. But I'm truthfully, honestly just praying for some kind of miss or something here. A miss or a choke or something, you know. Or to be slower, that would work out great too. And that's not... Oh, what? I better hit this. I'm gonna be really mad if I don't. Okay, so we do connect with Rock Slide. This was very important. That absolutely got the damage off we needed there. So... that's fine too. I think she was expecting to, you know, try to knock out my whole team here. But I'm not scared of Zard. And we do see an Air Slash connect. I didn't expect to live that, but as previously mentioned, we do still have a Mega Medicham, and well, I'm at a pretty good amount of HP. I just really fear Latias. And yeah, ultimately when it comes down to it, Latias is going to be a big stopgap here. In terms of what I need to do. And yeah, a speed boost, a Y with speed boost is really, really potent. It really doesn't need much for this matchup. It just needs... it doesn't need full coverage, because she knows I don't have T-Tar or anything that she would need to run Focus Blast for. Like Heatran or anything like that. So she can afford to run, you know, a weird tech with a couple of different attacks there. So that's fine. Sort of. I don't like the situation, because I'm basically bullied into Fake Out being my only option here. But I need to pray that Fake Out will be able to knock it out from there, because I wasn't expecting Rock Slide from Sylvie not to be able to knock it out. But she does opt to switch out, and she goes into Latias, which is... I mean, sure. And that just does such good damage. Let me think this through, because I would really hate to choke the game away here. And I think the correct play thinking in the future is thinking about that damn Bisharp in the back. So, I don't know if Gengar is going to be able to take a hit here, but probably not. And she was actually Z-move Latias. So, that's really scary. Alright, so we got Medicham versus 3 Mons that don't have a lot of health left. One of them is going to, unfortunately, be a speed tie. But I'm so concerned with the rest of the stuff going on, you know? Got a lot of fast mons. Would have been really nice to get the burn on Bisharp as well. She's got 3 mons at red. The life. The life, the life, the life. Things don't look great. So... I'm kind of wondering... We could potentially have a way out. It's not over yet. I am down to 1, but it is my Mega. It's just at an uncomfortably low speed tier. So, these are the games we play, in fact. And unfortunately, it is a very fragile Mega. And I mean, she can calc if she wants, that's fine. I need to learn to not be phased when games run long enough. That's what happened last week. So yeah, I was expecting the switch, that's fine. So yeah, this was the smart play here. And then all she really realistically has to do is go back into it. Yeah, that was the play there. I didn't really have much of an opportunity to get hazards up, and I think my biggest mistake was probably losing Starmie so soon. So a miss would have been wonderful, but I think this will unfortunately be able to knock me out. Yep. So I don't have any priority beyond that. I overinvested in thinking about Galvantula and Landorus. I did not have Bullet Punch. I didn't have any priority beyond that. So the problem there is, it was a very good game. I actually did enjoy it a lot. My biggest concern, I'm not mad necessarily at how I played. I'm irritated by some situations. Probably the biggest post-game insight I could have there, that I could tell you guys, is if you look at my team and you look at what a +2 Bisharp would have done to it, and the fact that she brought it in on Starmie, you know, I had to make that choice right there, because had she predicted me switching and gone for a Swords Dance, if we take a look at what I have left, which I'll go ahead and actually do like a very impromptu locker room video right here. So let's go ahead and switch it back to... Do I have a different layout? I guess I could probably just go back to my main face cam layout, so give me 1 second, guys. But yeah. So, if we're looking at my Zygarde set here, this was actually supposed to be Z-Move Zygarde. I messed up in that I forgot to take the leftovers off of it. But I don't know ultimately whether or not it would have helped me there, because the crit Dazzling Gleam kind of put me at a little bit lower HP than I would have liked. And I was running max... Was I running max HP? No, I think I was just running a good chunk of HP is what it was. Or maybe that is. I don't know. I failed. I think I'm running a lot of HP is what it is. But Gleam and even after the -1 just did a lot to me. So that's it's kind of an unfortunate... You can actually kind of see my EDC. So yeah, I was a pretty good amount in HP, max attack, and I think I was enough speed to outspeed some lower speed mons. And I think it was also to outspeed... I forget which one it is specifically. I have notes on it, but it was to outspeed a particular mon after 1 Dragon Dance. So it did not end up happening that way, unfortunately. I think if there was one thing I could have changed, it was after Starmie died, On Shaman, when I brought in Zygarde instead of Gengar, if I brought in Gengar, I felt like that would have been better. But going back to Gengar, I actually had, I did not have Sludge Wave. That was just kind of a bluff there. But I had Shadow Ball, I had Icy Wind for Landorus and for Donphan. I had Hidden Power Fighting specifically for Bisharp, but those Mind Games are really, really, really vicious. And then, yeah, Wonderdoc, too. Wonderdoc says, if you would have had the Z move, you wouldn't have had to force yourself into outraging Shaman to give Bisharp the kill. This is true. This is very true. So there was a lack of prep going on there. And, you know, having that extreme speed, which I did have at the end game there, that would have been so important. So I think in terms of prep, I just kind of jumped into it without immediately checking all my items. Having a Z move on anything would have been fantastic, and I just didn't take advantage of that. Going back to this... This is not max. I think I forgot to EV this correctly. This is actually supposed to be max HP and speed. So that explains why that Ice Punch did so much, clearly. I was not expecting Electivire either. But I had T-Bolt, HP Ice, Heat Wave, and Roost. And then I was just 3 attacks leftovers. So I think I just grabbed the wrong one. Medicham, there's nothing weird about this. This is just jolly. I had Ice Punch for Donphan and for Landorus, and then I had Thunder Punch, keeping in mind she had Slowbro and Charizard, so that would have been for that. And then Ice Punch was also for Latias as well. But yeah, I feel like I'm at the point where I can reveal the EVs now because the match is over. And I didn't make a locker room video, so I can just do like a post-game locker room is what's going on. So I don't really mind too much explaining my thought process for why I had what I had specifically. But I mean, there's nothing weird about this. The Starmie in particular, I had Air Balloon on it, so that way I could come in because she did switch her draft from Ariados to Galvantula. So having Galvantula meant that if she got Web up, I would have been absolutely hosed. So she was, you know, I was thinking that she might have done like Web and like Defog and something like that. Or, you know, try to coax me into a Defog with Zapdos, and then Bisharp just really would have gotten the ball rolling there. That's another reason why I didn't want to use Gengar right away. Because if I Icy Winded something, and then Bisharp came in predicting a Shadow Ball and I Icy Winded it, I would have gotten a speed drop on it, but I would have given it a Defiant boost, and that is not something that you want on a Bisharp. That is absolutely terrifying. So, the fact that she kept Bisharp around as long as she did, it was played really well. What else do we have here? So yeah, here's this. Analytic is here because I don't really necessarily care about status on this thing. Nobody's really going to T-Wave a Starmie because they would assume it has Natural Cure. And on top of that, we saw how much Scald and, you know, all that other stuff was doing. I did a decent amount with Ice Beam and whatnot. And then my last Mon, which I feel deserves quite a bit of explanation here, is actually this is a fighting type Silvally. And the reason I'm running Timid as opposed to Naive or Hasty, if I run... which one's a special defense dropping one? I think that one is Naive. So if I run Naive, I don't live Charizard's Fire Blast, and I can't knock it out with the Rock Slide. Now, I don't really know what was up with that Zard and how it lived the Rock Slide, / whether or not that Calc was, you know, supposed to be there, whether or not I was supposed to get Chip on it. But I had Rock Slide specifically for Charizard. I had Ice Beam for Landorus and Donphan, and you guys saw it actually get a kill on Donphan. And I also had it for Latias as well. Ice actually had pretty good coverage on her. Multi-attack was specifically for Bisharp. It was meant to live a Sucker Punch from a Life Orb Bisharp and be able to respond with multi-attack. So that's why I had that there, because Medicham just naturally does not resist the Sucker Punch. It would just flat out die to it. And had, you know, a Draco Mist or something like that with Latias, I would have just faked out until, you know, I would have played that mind game, because if Fake Out fails, then Sucker Punch fails. So I was kind of prepared to play those games if it came down to it, which is why I said, you know what, we might actually be there, but we weren't. So that's kind of what happened there. Starmie, you know, kind of whatever. The Air Balloon play in the middle was kind of really cool. And then outside of that, I think Silvally was the one that deserved the most explanation there. This was supposed to be Dragonium Z. Since if you get +1, then you get a Dragonium Z followed by an Outrage, you can probably bop a Slowbro. But we didn't see like half the Mons we were expecting. We didn't see Slowbro, we didn't see Landorus, we didn't see Galvantula. There was just a lot that we did not really, you know, I don't know, that exact lineup was not something I expected. I kind of expected, like, Charizard, Landorus, Galvantula, Latias, and, like, Slowbro. I wasn't expecting Shaman and Donphan again. And having a base 100 Grass type, I did not have any... Well, I had a couple of Grass Resists. But on top of that, Gengar can't switch into an Earth Power. Zapdos was probably, like, my one pure thing to it. And... you know what? There was a Heat Wave miss in there, so that was actually pretty unfortunate. I would have gotten... that actually could have been a roll on Electivire. I'm kind of curious to see how much, you know, that Heat Wave would have done. So let me see. We'll do Zapdos. That's 252 special attack. Heat Wave. Versus... I'm assuming that's just a straight-up Electivire. Nothing weird about that. So Heat Wave does... oh, wait, that's Modest. Timid. So, Evire, if my Heat Wave connected, would have had a chance to knock itself out. Oh, wait, that... let me see. No. Wait. Yeah, 0 HP, 0 Spit F. And I don't think... oh, let's do this real quick. Heat Wave. So yeah, that would have been the same calc. So I would have done about 39 to 47. She would have died to Ice Punch recoil. And then at that point, I don't know. I feel like I maybe gave up Zapdos too easily, because I could have spun with Starmie. That should have been what I did there, because that I feel like having Zapdos at the end there would have been really nice. Not necessarily something that I needed. I don't know. I feel like I was worried about too much other stuff besides the game in general to actually focus on the game. You know, mainly with a lot of the 3DS stuff floating around in terms of internet things and whatnot. You guys probably know exactly what's going on / what I've been talking about in my Discord. But I suppose that's really it for kind of a post-locker room session. So we're now 2-1-1, which, I mean, that's all right. You win some, you lose some. And this was a pretty scary matchup as well, so I'm not immediately intimidated by the loss here. It just means, you know, we'll have to kind of focus a little bit more beforehand. This week, I feel like I started out this week tripping, and I just never got back on my feet. So going into this game today, not specifically 100% in the mindset, definitely didn't help me any. But excuses are like armpits, you know, everybody's got at least one and they all stink. So, you know, unless you lost both your arms, in which case I super apologize for that comment. But point being, you know, I should be making excuses. It was a fantastic game nonetheless. I'm pretty satisfied with how it went. I have a few things I would like to change. I have a few moments I was proud of. And I guess that's pretty much it. So I'm going to stop the recording, and at this point in time, I will talk to Twitch in a little bit. For YouTube, that's it. So if you guys enjoyed it, you can leave a like, rating, subscribe, do your thing. That should do it out of me, and I'll see you guys on the next one.